Lakers postgame show on 710 ESPN. Call now to be part of the Lakers postgame show and react on the game.
It's time for the Lakers postgame show tonight.
Lakers basketball is a final.
877-710 ESPN.
This is the Lakers postgame show.
Tipping off now.
And an absolutely critical game tonight between the Lakers and the Warriors. Fourth meeting between these teams. At stake, at best, the ability to climb into the upper part of the play-in bracket, get yourself to an 8, maybe even a 7. Either way, 2 cracks at 1 win to get yourselves in the playoffs. At the absolute worst, the stakes of this game would be the 9 seed, so you can maintain at least 1 home court game of the 2 wins you would need in the play-in to get yourself into the playoffs. The Lakers, unfortunately, come up very short in this game against the Golden State Warriors, lose 134-120. They are still the 9 seed right now, but they are going to need a tremendous amount of help. The Warriors have 3 games remaining on their schedule. They are hosting the Utah Jazz, then hosting the New Orleans Pelicans, then going on the road to close out in the basketball juggernaut home that is the Portland Trailblazers. So that is quite easily a schedule that the Warriors, especially the way they're playing right now with as much to play for, could finish out 3-0. The Lakers have 2 games remaining, one on the road in Memphis, the other on the road in New Orleans. They can go 2-0, but 2-0 will not be good enough because Golden State has the tiebreaker over them. So the Lakers are in a world of trouble right now. 134-120 loss to the Warriors. They began the game really behind the 8 ball because Anthony Davis was unable to play. He is still dealing with the effects of that eye injury suffered on Sunday in the loss to the Timberwolves. He wanted to play in this game, tried to give it a go, but before it was dealing with, we were told by Darvin Ham, symptoms like nausea, headaches. Said that he's not in the concussion protocol, so I don't know if he'll be reevaluated for that or if it's maybe just, these are very concussion-y sounding type symptoms, but Darvin said he's not in the concussion protocol, so maybe it's just the lingering after effects with no concussion. Hopefully that's the case because they need AD back ASAP. And LeBron actually was a game-time decision because he was dealing with the after effects of the flu-like symptoms that kept him out of Sunday's loss to the Timberwolves. He only showed up about an hour before the game and was able to get on the court. Started out, I thought, looking kind of beat and looking like he was really struggling to summon energy, but he really picked it up as the game went along. Finished with 33 points on 14 of 22 shooting, 11 assists, 7 rebounds, 2 steals. LeBron really gave it a strong effort to try to carry the Lakers through this, again, critical game. Got some decent scoring help. Rui Hachimura had a brutal first half, but ended up finishing with 20 points, 11 rebounds, 2 on the offensive glass, had a steal and a block. Austin Reeves, 22 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists. He was 8 of 15 from the field, 4 of 7 from behind the arc, which in and of itself was nice to see. Reeves has been in a pretty bad slump from behind the arc during this period where the Lakers actually have been winning. And I thought Jackson Hayes had a really nice game filling in for Anthony Davis. Played 28 minutes, had 11 points on 5 of 6 shooting from the field, as you would expect. A lot of dunks for Jackson Hayes. 6 rebounds, 3 on the offensive glass, a steal and a block. He's obviously not going to give you what Anthony Davis provides, but I thought Hayes was very active on both ends, was pretty disruptive trying to protect the lane, but it wasn't just that the Warriors put up 134 points. The way that they did it absolutely scorching from behind the arc, 26 of 41 from distance. That is 63%. And to put in perspective just how much the Warriors were just carving up the Lakers, bombing from three, 63% is actually down from how the game began. After the first 12 minutes of this game, first quarter in the books, the Warriors were shooting 7 of 10 from behind the arc, 70%. It was absolutely insane the way the Warriors were just hitting look after look after look. You know that it is not your night guarding the three-point line when Draymond Green goes 5 of 5 in the first half from behind the arc. I mean, Draymond Green, the fifth three that he hit in the half, he was backpedaling while laughing, but it didn't even feel like cocky Draymond Green laughing. It felt like, holy bleep, like, is this actually happening? Like, it was like a more sheepish version of the Michael Jordan shrug, where even Draymond was like, okay, come on, this is ridiculous. I'm not this kind of shooter. Like, come on, man. Los Angeles County Department of Mental Health wants to remind everyone that there is free emotional support service, referrals, and crisis counseling available 24/7 at 1-800-854-7771 or at dmh.lacounty.gov. 877-710-ESPN if you want to weigh in. Again, the Lakers falling to the Warriors 134-120. This is a really costly loss that, unless things break their way in a fashion that has not been happening for the Lakers over the last few games, they're almost certainly going to be the 10 seed, which means the most difficult path possible getting themselves into the playoffs. We will hear from Darvin Ham. It's not a threat, just letting you know, Darvin, his words will be spoken after this game, because based on what I've seen from Twitter at Cam Brothers, not a lot of you want to hear from Darvin, but it's just what we're supposed to be doing. Also, again, 877-710-ESPN. Let's take a quick call first, and we'll bring in one of the regulars, Hooper's X from the Circle of Trust. Scott Kaplan, by the way, is in the studio right now. Looks like he's munching over near the fridge. How's it going, Hooper's X?
Of course he is. How you doing, AK?
Good, man.
I am just at a loss. Like, the only way that the Lakers were going to win this game without AD was to get into a scoring battle with Golden State. And they were doing it fine in the first quarter. It seemed like they were kind of going back and forth. But then he decides to get rid of all of the good offensive players on the team, put Cam Reddish, Gabe Vincent, and a bunch of other scrubs who can't score and hit the broadside of a barn, and go down by, what was it, 15, 20 points, whatever it was.
It was in that neighborhood, yeah.
They come all the way back to get it within 5 points, and then put all of the guys back on the bench and bring all the scrubs back in. This guy is just we have 2 games left in the season, and this guy can't scheme anything. His only defensive scheming is that Anthony Davis is the anchor of the defense. Beyond that, he doesn't do anything, and he can't figure out how to adjust and play the way that they need to play to win these games. This was a winnable game. It was a totally winnable game, but he decided that he was going to be cute and thought that he'd bring in guys like Reddish, who are not good defenders. And
yeah, I mean, look, I know there's a phrase that a lot of Laker fans don't want to hear, but to be fair to Darvin, while I am not disputing the issues fans have had with Darvin all season when it comes to rotations, lineups, all that stuff. I think Darvin has made a lot of things way more complicated than necessary, often trying to get away from what feels like the most obvious choice. Tonight, I think, was tough. You don't have Anthony Davis, but I also wonder, and we're going to be hearing from Darvin later, so maybe he was asked about this, how much of the rotation choices he was making had to do with trying to get LeBron through this game, knowing that he was sick. I thought it took LeBron a while to really get going. And this is also indicative of when you have a bench that cannot score right now. Like Spencer Dinwiddie had 12 points, and he basically outscored the rest of the bench by himself. And there are no real options for him. And if Gabe Vincent isn't hitting shots, or Taurean Prince, who did not play well in this game at all and is coming off a pretty bad game against Minnesota, if those guys aren't providing anything, you start getting put in a position where you may have to, I guess you can ride the starters 40-ish minutes, which he came pretty close to doing. In the case of LeBron, though, I do wonder how much of this had to do with being concerned that you would burn him out before, say, you might need him in the fourth quarter. Again, I'm not trying to make excuses for Darvin. I'm legitimately wondering if that was a factor. And then you just look up and down the reserves, like the downside, Hoopers, to putting Rui in the starting lineup, which I think on balance it's where he belongs, is you just now have a bench with no scoring at all.
I get that. The only thing that I would argue with you about that is that this is kind of the thing that everyone's been arguing all season. It's you should always, in a game, you should always have either LeBron or AD on the floor. If you're going to stagger their minutes, that's fine. But he has this horrible tendency to take everyone off the court that's doing anything or that are good scorers and just put a bunch of guys out there that aren't capable of scoring. And this has been an ongoing trend the entire season. And I don't know, man. I almost hope they get wiped out. They lose in the play-in so that I don't have to see this man coaching a team anymore.
Well, I mean,
he's
look,
not head coaching material.
Appreciate the call. It is important to note, if the Lakers did lose in the play-in and they missed the playoffs altogether, I do think that there's a very good chance Darvin could get fired. But I don't think it's a slam dunk lock. Like, it should be clear. Like, I don't know for sure if the Lakers would let him go with 2 years remaining on his contract. Again, I'm not saying that they wouldn't. And if I were to bet, if they end up missing the playoffs, I'm guessing that he would be fired. But I want to make it clear that is just a guess on my part. This is nothing that I actually know for a fact. Speaking of Darvin Ham, we will be hearing from him coming up right now. We're going to hear him. Oh, you know what? We're not going to wait. We're going to hear Darvin right now.
Darvin, we know the defensive game plan had to shift a lot without AD. Golden State ends up hitting all the threes. It was a 26. So what did you see for the majority of those looks, and what were you trying to get accomplished without AD on that end?
I mean, for the most part, I thought just, they shot a really good percentage. But, it's they had guys step up and make shots. It's a make-or-miss league, and it is what it is. It's a tough loss for sure. They put a lot of pressure on your defense. Not having AD back there as our, just our conductor, just communicating and moving around. Obviously very, very tough, but, we came into the game and feel comfortable with our game plan, and for the most part, majority of the game we executed it. And, you have Draymond go 5 for 5 in the first half. You have Wiggs make a couple threes, then Podziemski and Gary Payton Jr., it's tough. The guys who you want, all NBA players are capable, don't get me wrong, but the guys you want shooting the ball, shot the ball, and when they're able to hold the water or maintain with those guys making shots, eventually Steph and Clay are going to make their shots. So that made it tough. And then obviously at the end of the third quarter, I think the last 3 minutes, they went on an 11-0 run, something like that. And it's they were blazing hot. But again, we don't have time to feel sorry for ourselves. We got to get our bootstraps together and get back on the drawing board, look at the film, and try to make the best of these last 2 games.
What did you make of LeBron's game, and what do you know about AD's availability for these final 2 games?
Well, obviously, we'll see how A wakes up tomorrow morning. I thought Brown was phenomenal going through what he's been through the last 48 hours. He came out and gave it his all. We had some good looks that didn't go down, shots we normally make. It's a make-or-miss league. And so he did everything in his power to try to will the team back to a win, and it just didn't work out. We fell short.
Darvin, pregame you said that AD's not in the concussion protocol. Was the headache and nausea, do you know, is that the same? I mean, it's not impossible if it's the same virus, but is it illness related? Is that what he's dealing with?
Yeah, I mean, you have to ask our doctors for sure. For sure. That's what it feels like to me. But again, I'm not a medical professional. You have to talk to our doctors.
And that was Darvin Ham. And that's actually interesting if the headache and nausea that AD was dealing with was not directly related to the eye injury. Again, Darvin clarifying he doesn't know for sure, but it's just unusual because those headache, nausea, stuff like that is very concussion-y type symptoms, which Darvin did say before the game. Anthony Davis is not in the concussion protocol. LeBron James feeling lousy, gave this game a real go. We will be hearing from him next. And again, 877-710-ESPN. I see you all holding. I will look to get everybody in here. You're listening to Lakers Postgame Show on 710 ESPN.
And your reaction on the Lakers line.
On 710 ESPN. Call now to be part of the Lakers postgame show and react on the game.
877-710 ESPN.
Hi, this is Anthony Davis of your Los Angeles Lakers.
Hi, it's LeBron. The Lakers play here.
It's time for Lakers postgame.
Outlet to Steph Curry, and somebody better stop the ball. Steph dribbles into the front court. Gives it to a wide open goal.
Oh, my goodness.
Steph Curry was absolutely wide open.
Where was D'Angelo Russell going? He just ran away from him and left him.
How in the world?
Usually, that's still a tough shot to make because you're so open. Sometimes you take too long to shoot it.
Now, to be fair to D'Angelo Russell, he was moving away from Steph there because he got hit in the face. And I think he was kind of dazed. He legitimately got cracked. So it was not D'Lo leaving Steph open by either design or indifference. But the way Steph was shooting tonight, quite frankly, I don't think it would have mattered. 23 points on 9 shots. 7 of 9 from the field, 6 of 6 from behind the arc, 3 of 4 at the line, a rare miss for Steph at the line, plus 7 rebounds, 8 assists, a steal, 2 blocks for Steph Curry, and just 1 turnover. That is good enough to make you player of the game. Driven by your Southern California Toyota dealers, we make it easy. Lakers fall 134-120 to the Golden State Warriors, a critical loss that in all likelihood, unless something really strange happens, will solidify the Lakers as the 10 seed, giving them the most difficult road possible heading into the play-in, trying to get themselves into the playoffs. Take a few calls. Again, 877-710-ESPN. Jordan in Corona, you're on the Lakers postgame show. What's up, Jordan?
Hey, thanks for going for me twice on back-to-back games.
Nice. Excellent.
Hey, we have a big game on Friday and Sunday against Memphis and New Orleans.
Yep.
We also have the Warriors who play Thursday. I hope Damian Lillard and the Warriors and the Trailblazers drop 50 on them.
Well, Damian Lillard now in Milwaukee, and they've got troubles of their own. But, yeah, I appreciate the call, Jordan. They are going to need help. You hit the nail on the head there. They are going to need some help because the Lakers have played one more game than the Warriors. The Lakers have 2 games left. They are on the road against Memphis and New Orleans. These are the games that Golden State's going to be playing. They host Utah, they host the Pelicans, and then they go on the road to Portland. And look, the Pelicans have a lot to play for, so the Lakers maybe get some help from New Orleans, although ironically that's one of the teams they're chasing. But at this point, first things first, you got to try to get yourself back to that 9 seed. Maybe they get some help there, but they're going to need even more help because Golden State has the tiebreaker. This is just a really bad place for the Lakers to be. McGee in San Pedro. You're on the Lakers postgame show. What's up, McGee?
What's going on? How you doing, brother?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm okay. I won't say I hate to say I was kind of expecting this based off of what I've seen the Warriors look like the past couple of weeks, and also how we construct this roster. Schifino was a very important pick. I mean, he didn't pan out. It's obviously was a whiff this year, but we needed that pick to hit. We needed more depth. We needed another role player who can just do some things. And just watching the team, watching us just kind of struggle to score, especially when LeBron's off the court. I don't know why LeBron, Reeves, and D'Lo were off the court at one point in the game. That's puzzling.
Yeah, I mean, real quick, McGee, and I'll let you finish. With LeBron, I do wonder how much Darvin was trying to preserve him for a whole game because he really was not feeling well. It had been, I don't know if you're aware or not, or all the listeners were aware, but it had been a game-time decision whether or not he was going to play. He wasn't in the building until about an hour before the game. He was still dealing with the after effects of those flu-like symptoms. So I wonder if in LeBron's case specifically, Darvin was thinking about trying to get him through the game. But you are correct overall. Like you given that you're missing AD, who didn't play tonight because of the eye injury from Sunday, you got to have your best players, some combination of them on the court at all times. Unfortunately for Darvin, D'Angelo Russell did not have a good game tonight. Just 3 of 11 from the field, 2 of 7 from behind the arc, 14 points. So I don't know how much extra minutes for D'Lo. I mean, he played 37. He led the team, but not his night. But you bring up an interesting point, McGee, though, with Jalen Hood-Schifino. And to be fair to the Lakers, they expected Gabe Vincent to be available all year. And if that were the case, Hood-Schifino wouldn't be playing at all. And they have so little youth on this team. I think they were trying to be a little greedy with the project. But then watching a kid like Brandon Pajemski, 13 points off the bench tonight. He's been fantastic as a rookie. They could have had him, and that's going to put some pressure on JHS to have a good year next year.
Yeah, I mean, my thing is, I mean, and even Jackson Davis, like, man, like, and I mean, the Warriors, obviously, I mean, they've won 4 titles. They're a banner, stellar organization. But I think just getting closer to the end of the year, Cam, and to start to feel like, what are the Lakers? How do they operate as a front office? How do they do things? And what is the draft to them? You know, how important are these draft picks? We can't be whiffing on projects. We need players. Especially with the type of team with AD and LeBron, you have to use your draft pick as a way of getting a resource, an asset, somebody that can play on your coming off the bench or your role players. But the bench players also need to understand when you come off the bench, you're playing defense. You come off the bench to play defense. Shout out Michael Cooper, Hall of Famer.
Yeah,
you
congrats to Coop.
No matter who you are, you play defense, and that's what you do before you do anything else on a team coming off the bench in the NBA, I believe. You're a defensive player because that's the energy and that's the spark and the reinforcement that you need. So the Lakers are just not in the right direction right now. They're a 10-seeded team, to be honest.
Yeah, I appreciate the call there, McGee. Jalen Hood-Schifino, he is going to be a controversial pick until he ends up showing that he is an NBA player. He had a rough year this year. I mean, he was not ready to be on the court on a regular basis, and the Lakers knew that. They chose him knowing that he was 19 years old, playing a position that is the hardest in the league, point guard. But this is a team in win-now mode. Maybe it ends up not mattering, and so much went wrong for the Lakers this year. I don't know if the type of player they could have gotten with the 19th pick would have necessarily swung the season, but everything is going to be under that microscope and looked at again because it all matters. And there were a lot of people saying, before the draft that the Lakers should be packaging that pick. I know that they tried. I'm very confident that they tried to do it. But once they saw that they couldn't make a deal that they liked, there is a very strong school of thought that they should have taken a player that was immediately able to help, even if they didn't have the upside that they thought JHS has. We will see how he looks next year. One more call before we get to LeBron. Let's go to Tony in Mission Hills. Tony, you're on the Lakers postgame show. What's up?
Good evening, brother. Good evening. I just left the game. I kind of just want to touch base on the initial call that you had, kind of blaming Darvin, for all these mishaps that the Lakers have had. But I'm like, really, you gotta look at it in a deeper manner, right? I'm one to say this team has built around AD being our number one, LeBron per se being our number two. So in this instance, I would say AD was more of our Steph Curry and LeBron being more of the Clay in this scenario. If you pull that same way, we played obviously today without AD. You pull Steph out of the equation today, do you think they perform as what they did today?
I mean, Steph had 23 points on 9 shots, 6 of 6 from behind the arc. So yeah, it's a big deal.
But how does that? But that's why I would go back and I say, hey, like, how can you go back to Darvin and blame that on him? Like, Hachimura, Hayes, Prince, they missed a lot of good looks, easy looks, right? And so to always go back, and I feel like that's always been, as a Laker fan, like I feel like we've always fallen back and just always want to blame the coach. And I'm like, why not we hold the players accountable? This was almost a playoff game to consider. This is almost like a game 7, if you will, because you're playing almost like, are you in, are you out? And I feel like the players just did not show up. Granted, yes, I do feel like, okay, LeBron must have got word that, hey, AD isn't playing tonight. You got to step up, come in. Okay, that is what it is. But to always fault the coach, I'm like, there's only so much the coach can do. If your players are out there and he's picking selections, whether it's the Cam Reddishes, the Jackson Hayes, the Gabe Vincent, yes, they're all performed to date, but some of these looks have just been fairly off. And I always just kind of be like, you know what? We've got to stop blaming the coach. We've got to stop putting everything on him and kind of take accountability to the guys that are on the court and say, hey, you know what? We need to step up. This is what you are, the Los Angeles Lakers. You know what this entails. It's like, you know what? You've got to step up.
I appreciate the call there, Tony. Stay on hold. Do not hang up. Funchy may have something for you, and perhaps related to this or not. I cannot specify one way or the other, but just so people know, if you need a break from the everyday fans, it may be your lucky day because tonight Fantasy Springs Resort Casino is giving away 2 nights plus dinner, golf, or bowling for 2. Make any day your lucky day. Book now at fantasysprings.com. LeBron gave it his all, feeling like crap during this game. Here's what he had to say.
LeBron, tonight just seemed like every time you guys got closer, chipped away, Warriors would make you pay somehow. 26 of 41. I mean, literally one of the better shooting nights in the history of the NBA from them.
Yeah, I mean, they have the ability to do that, so it's not surprising. Obviously, Day got it going early, had the 5 for 5 from 3, and you have to tip your cap to him. You tip your cap to them. You go out with a game plan, and when they exploit the game plan, you tip your cap. And Day definitely messed with our game plan with him shooting the ball he did in the first half, and but you give a team that shoots 23, makes 26 threes, it's gonna be hard to beat them.
What can you share with us just over the last couple of days, just how you've been feeling and what went into being able to play tonight?
Just try to get as much rest as I could, stay hydrated as much as I could, man. Give my team as much as I could today. I came in, it was a Sunday before a normal prep day, for the Minnesota game, and started to get worse. But as the minutes went on, so I went home, and pretty much today was like one of the first days I was able to get out of the room, get out of bed, and feel a little bit of energy, and I guess well enough to be able to come here and try to help the team.
You told us when we were in Memphis that this team has to prioritize health and proceeding down the stretch, because what's the point of the seed if you don't have the healthy bodies? That said, put that into action in a game like tonight, and Anthony has to miss it. Does that take any toll on the team's kind of spirit, considering the momentum you guys had going?
I mean, it is what it is. I mean, at the end of the day, we know we're as good as any team in the league when we're whole. And when we're not, we can't. It's hard for us to make up, especially having a guy like AD, not playing. It's almost pretty much impossible to make up for what he provides for our ball club, both offensively and defensively.
When LeBron, the standings are what they are, I mean, just like an eyelash between teams and so much at stake between being 10-9 and 9-8. Does your mind ever go to any other what ifs? Like just the human natural part of it, to think back to other moments throughout this really long year and the impact something in December or something in early March could have on a moment right now?
I mean, of course, but I mean, that doesn't change anything because it is what it is today. So you focus on, the present and, forget about the past and just see how we can get better in the future. So, but to answer your question, of course, but I mean, it doesn't change a thing.
And that was LeBron James commenting after tonight's 134-120 loss. The Lakers falling to the Warriors in a really, really bad way. A lot of ramifications. Coming up next, take a few more of your calls. Hear from the kids in the back with the social media. It's the Lakers postgame show on 710 ESPN.
Highlights from tonight's Lakers game and your reaction on the Lakers line.
On 710 ESPN. Call now to be part of the Lakers postgame show and react on the game.
877-710 ESPN.
Hi, this is Anthony Davis of your Los Angeles Lakers.
Hi, it's LeBron. The Lakers play here.
It's time for Lakers postgame.
If you're looking for some bright spots from tonight's 134-120 loss to the Warriors, and there aren't that many in terms of things that might make you feel good, the Lakers at least did win the points in the paint. That battle 54-40, despite not having Anthony Davis, and also despite the fact that the Warriors missed so few shots, so there really was not a lot to rebound. But nonetheless, they win 54-40, points in the paint all season long, sponsored by Vista Paint. Locally owned and manufactured for over 65 years, Vista Paint is your home for factory direct, high-quality paint products. Vista Paint, your championship team of paint professionals for over 65 years. Again, the Lakers fall 134-120 to the Warriors. No Anthony Davis tonight, still dealing with, I guess, the after effects of the eye injury, although it might be the same thing that LeBron has been dealing with, those flu-like symptoms. Darvin Ham said after the game he wasn't 100% sure, or he's just keeping this stuff in-house and not committing one way or another. I guess it only really matters in terms of whether or not Anthony Davis will be back.
Hopefully he wasn't staring at the eclipse yesterday.
he didn't put on proper eye protection.
That's why he wasn't feeling nauseated. And
I would like to think that is not why Anthony Davis missed this game. I don't have those inside of sources to know, but I'd like to think that was not the cause of this. Take a few more calls, 877-710 ESPN. JR at LAX, it looks like. You're on the Lakers postgame show. What's up, JR?
How are you?
Good, man.
I'm very disappointed, Andy.
In what? I mean, there's so much to choose from. In what?
Well, let's start with the league. Anthony Davis has now been hit in the head 3 times. Nobody's been kicked out of the game. No flagrant fouls have been called. And they're setting a real bad precedent that you can do this without any consequences. Let's take that for starters.
It's ironic. I don't know if you saw, JR, but Naz Reid ended up getting ejected in the Wolves game tonight because he had kind of a forearm. I don't remember which player it was, but a bit of I don't want to say a scuffle because that's too much, but basically just battling under the basket. He had his elbow in the neck of another player in a way that it's a foul. I don't think it's any more than a foul, but he ended up getting ejected. And while I don't think he should have been ejected, if that is ejectable, then what Kyle Anderson did to Anthony Davis inadvertently, and I want to make it clear, I don't think he necessarily should have been ejected either, but if what Naz Reid did is an ejection, Kyle Anderson would be like on trial. So I understand where you're coming from.
And above the shoulders is an automatic flagrant, isn't it?
No, I get what you're saying. It's not consistent. I totally understand what you're saying.
Now, point 2. This Lakers backcourt is looking real shabby going into the playoffs. I'm real disappointed that they haven't figured out how to step up against some fierce competition. I'm real concerned moving into the playoffs. They're going to do the same thing they did last year. These guys are going to disappear, and they're going to sit back and expect LeBron and Anthony Davis to carry them through the playoffs. They need to relook starting now into next year what they're going to do about this Lakers backcourt. Something has to be done.
Yeah, tonight was a bad night for, Austin Reeves ended up, I think, overall having a pretty good game. 22 points, 8 of 15 from the field, hit 4 threes, 6 assists, 7 rebounds. But D'Angelo Russell, 14 points on 3 of 11 shooting. He had 7 assists against no turnovers, but they needed more from D'Angelo Russell. He's had a really good year, but this was a night where a lot was needed, and he didn't bring it. He didn't.
And Gabe Vincent, I mean, they're putting him out there. He's not ready, but he's not looking like he was really somebody they should have gone after in the first place. He doesn't even look like the same player that he was on the Miami team. He just doesn't look like he fits with the Lakers.
No, I mean, it's tough for him right now, and I appreciate the call, JR. it's a tough position for Gabe Vincent right now because he's played so little this year, and it's such a critical time to be trying to ramp him up. And this was a concern, by the way. My brother Brian and I talked about this on Locked On Lakers, the podcast that we host 5 days a week everywhere you get your podcasts, Monday through Friday, never behind a paywall. And for those of you, the sickos who like to watch, there's a YouTube component as well. This was a concern that I had about Gabe Vincent, just that he would not have enough of a ramp-up period, and he has so little familiarity with these guys, that it was going to be difficult to try to implement him. And I think defensively, he's actually had some really nice activity, but the problem is right now, especially since Rui has moved in the starting lineup, man, they need scoring off this bench, and they're not getting any from Gabe Vincent at all. It's not necessarily shocking. He's not an established scorer, but he's done more than he did tonight or since he's returned, and they absolutely need it. Coretta wants to talk about Darvin's coaching. What's up, Coretta?
Hi, Andy. How are you?
Good.
Leaving the game, there's a couple things all season that's been a little bit disturbing. And one, Darvin Ham letting the other team go on a run, not calling timeout.
It's been a thing people have focused on a lot this year.
Yes. And two, not defending the three-point shot. Yes, we do tip our hat to the Warriors tonight, but I mean, most of their three-point shots were uncontested. Can we put a hand in their face or do something?
Yeah, I mean, look.
Consistent all year.
Coretta, you're correct. I appreciate the call. It has been a factor this year. And like tonight, in the first half, Draymond Green was being conceded some of those threes, and he made them. There was a three that Gary Payton II made that was he couldn't have had a defender within 7 feet of him. And Draymond's having a good three-point season this year, but it's not traditionally what he does. It's not what Gary Payton II does. But the problem is, if you allow NBA players who can make that shot at all to get into rhythm, they inevitably may. And this was tonight a game where it happened. Brandon in Whittier on the Lakers postgame show. What's up, Brandon?
Hey, Andy. I'm a huge fan.
Thanks, man.
I was listening to you on Twitter. I was listening on the podcast with your brother.
Locked on Lakers. Say the name, Brandon.
Locked on Lakers.
Thank you, baby. Continue.
So I'm really unhappy with Darvin Ham as a coach. I hate to piggyback on everyone else kind of going down on him, but if I have to see Taurean Prince play the 4 one more time, I'm going to lose it. And then his rotations overall, he's not scheming. A lot of the best coaches, Popovich, Phil Jackson, those guys were scheming against the best teams. He played the Nuggets. He played all these teams already 4 times, and he hasn't had any different looks or schemes to go at him with. And it's really, really disheartening.
Yeah, I appreciate the call, Brandon. I mean, this was a game where I don't know if it's necessarily fair to put it all on Darvin in the sense that if you don't have Anthony Davis, the Lakers are a dramatically different team. He's their best player. But it's also a night where you need everybody to be at their best. And if you're going to be down on D'Angelo Russell, for example, shooting really poorly, Rui Hachimura finished with 20 points and had a decent second half, but he was off to a brutal start to this game. I believe he was 2 of 11 in the first half. Austin Reeves finished, I think, on balance with a nice game, but it took a while to get going. Or other than Spencer Dinwiddie, no scoring off the bench at all. Taurean Prince and Taurean Prince, basically, that was your scoring other than garbage time from the bench players. Cam Reddish did not score at all. Gabe Vincent did not score at all. You had Dinwiddie with 12 points and Taurean Prince with 2. That's basically it. If you're going to expect all these other guys, rightly, to step up and be at their best given the circumstances, it's fair to expect Darvin Ham to be at his best as well. And this was clearly not a night where he managed to, I think, help lead the Lakers through a very, very difficult situation. Kids, we moving on to the kids in the back with the social media?
Move on to the kids in the back.
What's up, kids? I saw DeAndre at the game.
What's happening?
What's up, Andy? How's it going?
Good. DeAndre didn't see me, but I saw him.
Yeah, I mean, I was out there running around, getting some social content.
No, you're a busy man.
Posting all of our.
He's too big now. He's on the Sedano and Cal.
I know.
He's big time than you,
No. I just like
and he's literally big. DeAndre's a big dude. If you've never met him, he's literally big timing all of us. He's a big man.
Thank you, guys. I'm flattered. But anyways, so besides what happened to the game tonight, there's one specific superstar who stole the spotlight.
Yes.
And that was Kobe Turner.
Yes.
Shout out to Kobe Turner. He sung the national anthem today for the Lakers. And I don't know about you, AK, Funches, Wilbert, Josh. I did not know that man had vocals like that.
I had heard, really quickly, defensive lineman, rookie for the Rams.
Correct.
Kobe Turner. I had heard that he was singing the anthem, and I had heard just that he was a good singer, like he was a legitimate singer. I had no idea. I tweeted this out at Cam Brothers. I had no idea he was that good. He was legitimately terrific.
Please don't tell Speed Mason. Mason's gonna get jealous.
I should have added Steve
or Cappy. Cap, remember they did their barbershop.
That's right.
Version of the anthem.
That's right. But no, honestly, I was really.
He was
impressed
terrific
at how well he was singing. And also, Puka Nacua was there. Cooper Kupp was also there. So it was a Rams house at Crypto today.
Yeah, it's cool that they were there supporting their not just their teammate, but like a rookie doing something. Apparently, he sang at the Kings game too.
Really?
Earlier this year.
Wow.
Good on him, man. Like I again at Cam Brothers, you can find. I tweeted this out, a video about 40 seconds of him. He's really good.
We also have it on ESPN Los Angeles on X and
on our socials.
On our socials, on all of our platforms, X, Instagram,
Another
TikTok.
superstar of the night, Andy, and I think you were there to notice him, was Roman, Michael's grandson. I don't know.
Yes, I got a fist bump from Roman.
Exactly. It was funny how when Michael brought him along, everybody just kind of gravitated towards him.
He's already got that Thompson charisma.
Oh, he does. Yeah, he does. Yeah.
Yeah.
At one point, he looked back at us, and we could not stop waving at Michael. Like, it's so cute. So
and he told Michael, "I want to go home."
I don't blame him. Speaking of, by the way, celebrities who were not appreciated in the house, FIFA president Gianni Infantino.
Yeah, what is up with that? He got booed.
The boos are super loud.
Yeah.
It might have something to do with the fact that FIFA is a really corrupt organization.
Yeah.
He's the head of it.
And in the World Cup was in Qatar,
Yeah.
where no one could go.
Qatar.
But yeah, he got viciously booed.
Gareth Bale was there.
Yeah, Will Ferrell. Now the crowd obviously loved Will Ferrell.
Now, AK, I got a question for you.
Sure.
Are you familiar with the guy by the name of Speed? I Show Speed?
No, but I saw that he got tweeted out like that he was there, and I looked him up. He's got 2.5 million followers. I have no idea who this is.
So quick story. I actually got a shout-out video from him when he went to the LAFC game, and he was able to do a shout-out video for us on ESPN Los Angeles Instagram. And then I saw him again today. Kind of recognized me a little bit. I want to say, I just came up to him and was like, "Hey, man, you did a shout-out for me. Just want to get a quick video of you." And it's funny because he was at WrestleMania this past weekend.
What's his deal? Like, who is he? I don't even know who
he is. He is a content creator. So he's
one of those people.
He's known for like his
skits.
His skits, and he's really obsessed with Cristiano Ronaldo. So that's what he's really known for.
I remember in the ESPN LA charity basketball game that we did, like us versus various celebrities,
Mace Plant.
With the Mace Plant. That was
Mace
where
Plant.
there was a Vine star that was on the celebrity team that I recognized him, but not really. But then I looked him up. His Vine following was back when Vines were a thing.
Was blown up.
It was massive. I was like, oh my God, this guy's a legitimately big deal in that world.
Cool.
Yeah, but that's what we got for you guys.
So that's what you got from the kids in the back.
Thank you, kids in the back. The Lakers are going to need an incredible amount of help moving forward. That I don't want to be pessimistic. It is all is not lost. These Lakers have been playing really, really well over the last few months. They've beaten good teams. They've shown resiliency. They've made big comebacks. Like, I don't want to tell people that all is lost because I don't believe all is lost. But I'm also not going to lie to you. This is a very difficult path that the Lakers are most likely on moving forward. Betting money has them as the 10 seed. If I were to lay down my own money on it, and the 10 seed is the most difficult path possible to get yourself into the play-in, into the playoffs from the play-in. That being said, LeBron James, Anthony Davis have a pretty good track record when it comes to betting on them in difficult circumstances. So we shall see. Our next broadcast is going to be Friday. The Lakers traveling to Memphis to face the Grizzlies in the second to last game of the season. They got to win that one. Coverage starts at 3:30 with the pregame tip-off at 5. And appreciate everybody listening, calling in, tweeting at me during the Lakers postgame show on 710 ESPN.
Lakers basketball.